to Dip-a-Toe.
Welcome to the Dip-a-Toe Let's Talk Crypto show.
How you doing, Simon?
I'm doing excellent this fine, illustrious hump day. How are you?
Hump day. I'm doing
Hump
fantastic.
day.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah.
I am doing fantastic.
Awesome.
It's a Wednesday. It was really hot in here like 20 minutes ago, but it's starting to cool down. So
no. Well, the sun's finally starting to come out, but we had rain today. Winter is coming for the north. You ever watch Game of Thrones?
No. I think you've asked me that before.
How many times do I ask you that? I want to count. I'm gonna have to go back and count because I always ask about Game of Thrones and Marvel comic movies. Okay, how about Lord of the Rings? You watch Lord of the Rings?
Yes, I have watched, but not all of them.
All right, cool. I'll try to make some movie reference next shows. Yeah. Oh, the new Rings of Power on Amazon?
No, but I would be interested in that.
Holy shnikes! We're in season 2 right now. It is epically awesome. It is so choice to watch that.
Rings of Power. Is that what it's called?
Rings of Power. Yeah, Rings of Power.
Rings of Power.
This is how Sauron became Sauron. And how the rings, and what is it? When the first trilogy of Lord of the Rings came out, the sequel basically to The Hobbit that came out first, and then they did The Hobbit again. So where they talk the intro into like season or the first episode in that trilogy, and they talk about the rings. 3 were given to the elves, 7 were given to the dwarves, 9 were given to the men, or 5 were given to the dwarves. I almost said dorks. Sorry, fellas. Anyways, it picks up at kind of how that came to be, and it's pretty awesome. Look, we got new mindset in the house. Rosemary got the first comment. She's been here for 3:28 my time, man. To talk about early bird gets the worm.
Love you, Rosemary. Thank you for coming.
Yes,
new mindset, Becky. We love you guys. Thank you to the 11 that are here early right now. We do have a special guest coming on here momentarily.
Special guest.
But before Versan gets here, what do you got on tap for 15 minutes of
15 minutes of inspiration?
Feel good stories of the week.
I do too. It totally reminds me of like Late Night with Letterman or something like that. They always did some, or the top 10. I always like Letterman's top 10. Sometimes they were like totally whacked, and that's why I like them, because like, dude, who writes your stuff? This is horrible. So you're saying there's a chance?
Yeah.
Oh, 15 minutes of inspiration. Actually, I've been so here's mine. I'd like to share this with mine. And I don't know if this is really inspirational, but I just want to give credit where credit's due. So I'm going to share 2 things for giving credit to the masses. One is all the wonderful comments that we get in our comment section down below. I read those, not all the time, as in, not every week do I read them, but I do go back and I do read them. And there's good conversation in there. So I really appreciate that. That actually makes me feel good. Even if it's a Simon, we've seen the white hoodie. Can you wear a different hoodie, please?
Yeah.
I'll buy you one. Whatever, it's good stuff. It's very good stuff. So thank you to all of you out there. You literally inspire me to keep going on this channel. And just the positive comments I get here on my channel, Alan's channel, it's just shout outs of appreciation and thank you for what we're doing. So thank you to all for doing that. Oh my gosh, dude, is it dusty in here? I think I'm gonna cry. Good thing it's not baseball. Just kidding. I'm not gonna pull a Bitcoin Ben. The second kudos I would like to give is to you, Melissa.
No.
You bust your arse to
That's my
bring this
arse.
show to life. You do an amazing job, a fantastic job. I know you don't see what I see, and it's hard for me to articulate what I do see, but I have seen you come a long way since 2021, since we first started doing the Zoomers and all that, and up to where you're now. I mean, you're literally pulling people from the crypto space and getting them on this show. And like, seriously, this show would not be a show without you. So thank you for letting me be a part of this show. I thank you.
Oh,
You're welcome.
well, thank you for the kind words. I appreciate it.
Oh, it's all
Definitely.
love from here.
It's definitely, I couldn't ask for a better partner in the dip a toe. You make it real easy. You make it real easy for me to hop on, and you know, we both have busy lives. We're both working and studying and doing all these things, and to come up with a show in the middle of the week every week is it's hard work. and you know, the
sometimes it's 6 hours prior. Hey, what do you want to do? Oh, let's talk about this.
I want to say hello to Marvin Davis, and I think it's Throw Inc. and our friend K Buddy, Miss Kelly's here. Thank you guys for coming. We appreciate you. I just heard from Versan. I think he's going to be jumping on here soon. So my 15 minutes of inspiration story. I got another sappy video to show because you know how I am. But this one's again another one of those. Another one of those give the money thing, but I think it's really cool, so I'm gonna play it.
Could you help me get some new shoes, ma'am? I'm struggling. I'm struggling. Dirt on the car. Please. It's ridiculous. Please. Excuse me, could you help me get some new shoes, man?
Oh, ma'am?
I got a job interview
said,
tomorrow.
Man.
I don't know if you see this, but I ain't getting no job with this right here.
Probably not at all.
If you can help me out with anything at all, man, I really, really appreciate it.
He's thinking about it.
I really was just doing some last minute shopping. I was gonna grab some popcorn and some other snacks for a Lakers party I'm throwing my daughter for the night.
Is it her birthday?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it's her birthday. We were actually supposed to go to the game. I've been promising her. Stuff's been very difficult of late. Money's been real tight. Weren't able to quite get her to the game, but figured I could throw her a nice little gathering at the house. Yeah.
Well, look, I mean, Laker tickets are expensive, aren't they?
They're very expensive.
Oh, yeah. So look, man, if you can't help me, I completely understand.
No, this is definitely more so important. It's just a game, ultimately. I'd hate for you not to be able to get a job knowing that there was something I could do about it.
You sure?
Yeah, I'm 100% positive. I can just have some of the people who coming over kind of pick up the remainder of the stuff.
Jeez, man. I mean, thank you. Wait, enough for a whole new pair?
Yeah, just go ahead and get yourself together, my man, and get that job.
Thank you. Look, you're the first person that's helped me today. Can I at least get your name?
My name's Trell.
Trell?
Yep.
Look, I wish we had more people in this world like you. My name is Marcus. Okay. And truth is, I'm doing my job right now.
Okay.
I don't actually need this money. I have a perfectly good pair of shoes waiting for me outside in my car. I know I'm walking around barefoot right now and I look a little crazy, but I'm not actually homeless.
All right.
Do you see this right here in my shirt?
Yeah, I can see.
I'm recording this because I'm going to show the world what a good person looks like. Truth is, this is just a kindness test. You're the first person to pass that kindness test out of the last 20 people that I've talked to.
Wow, no help, huh?
No one's helped me. No one's even talked to me. You're the first person to stop and talk to me, man. So I got a gift for you.
Okay.
You said you really wanted to take your daughter to a Laker game.
Yeah, I've been trying for a few seasons here, but I said those Laker tickets get pretty expensive and money's been a little tight.
No, money's been tight for everyone. I mean, I'm looking at the prices of all this. Everything's gone up. So let me help you out.
How many stacks do you think that is?
$3,000 in cash.
A lot. 3,000.
Oh, wow.
That's for you to take your daughter to a Laker game, man. God bless you.
Oh, wow. Are you sure?
Yeah. that's for you. God bless you. I hope that helps, man.
Oh my God, helps
Give him at
tremendously.
least the other shoe, man. You can't be.
I'm actually lost for words. Thank you.
Huh?
That's cool. Yeah, I've seen some good ones. Yeah, that's good stuff.
Makes
I
me
want to know.
cry.
I want to know what he does for a job to throw out 11 stacks like that.
Yeah, right?
Hey, can we get him on the show?
Man, I don't know.
Let's reach
You
out.
know what? I do not have trouble asking people to come on the show. If I can find out who the dude is, I would definitely say, hey, come on, dip a toe. What
Right?
up for you to know, my friend? Thank you so much for coming. For you to know says, what up, good people?
What up, good people? We got K
We
Buddy in the
love you.
house. Throw Inc. My gosh, I can't talk. Marvin Davis, Becky, Rosemary, Atlantic Living. There's a few others in the house. Where'd they go? I saw some. Yeah, New Mindset. What's good? Oh, Optimistic Prime. I saw you slide in there. Look. Oh, Optimistic. I didn't even know you were the first. I apologize. Optimistic was the first in the chat. I am so sorry. My bad. Ooh, not showing the love for the PNW.
Oh,
people.
yeah. She's saying, can you
Yeah.
see my comments here? I wonder
Yeah,
if she's on X. She's watching it on X.
Yeah, no, it was there. All I saw was Rosemary's though. So I mean,
Yeah,
whatever.
Rosemary, I think came on YouTube.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Optimistic came on. So it's good to know that the chat does work
That's good.
within space or on the X platform.
Perfect.
So tonight, before Versan gets here, so we thought we would delve into some critical topics in the crypto space, particularly XRP. We want to talk about stable coins again, and the potential implications of Tether collapse. There's rumblings of that always around surrounding Tether, and I want to get Versan's take on what he thinks could happen. And the bull run. I mean, there's so many things.
It's always
things to talk about.
It's always this fun hoopla poopla, man. It is the bull run soup. It's like the bulls are running, and now we're stepping in the last night's dinner out in the pasture, and then the bulls will run again, and then anyways, yeah.
So it should be an interesting conversation. Next week we have Mr. Mann, one of our favorite people in the digital asset space. He's another researcher, educator in this space, and we love him. Very good person. So we're looking forward to that. That is on what is it, the 18th, I think.
Yeah, next Wednesday, the 18th. Yes, ma'am.
And then we've got I think October 2nd. We have Jake Claver coming on to talk with us.
I know.
So
I know why she's laughing, ladies and gentlemen, because Simon Says Crypto be messing up that poor boy's last name.
Yeah. I've also been in discussions with Tammy Khan of what is that? What is the they're developers.
I literally just closed that window before we started.
Yeah. They're developers that just created a keep key type password manager. And they're having a what do I want to say? They're having a beta test going on right now, and so it's a perfect opportunity to try and learn about that. And she wants to try to get as many beta testers on it as possible and get their feedback. But my understanding is that it's an easy way to manage your in a secure way to manage your passwords. And so I was talking with her about it, and I'm like, we'd love to have you or your co CEO of the company come on and discuss it and kind of walk us through it. Because you know me, I'm always skeptical. Hey, Gina. I'm always skeptical of products, and I realize, when we're in this space, there's so many new things being created. People have good intentions, and they're trying to make things better for the whole space. And so it's exciting to be able to beta test something. And so I'm really curious on how these things work, because I never, I'm always like, oh, I don't know. I think we're moving towards that direction, where once all these things get buttoned up. It's Crypto Pass. Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you, K buddy.
K buddy, are you beta testing the Crypto Pass, the Crypt Pass? Crypt Pass.
Hey, no hand signals. I mean, unless you represent the set, no hand signals. You got to talk to Snoop. You got to talk to Snoop.
Yeah. So I'm wondering if Versan's coming, or if we should move on to something.
You know what?
Coming.
First off, oh dang it, it's slipping away. Okay, so I did not watch the show last night.
Oh.
Yeah, I did not watch the show last night. Yes, and so it's actually kind of it's been good for me. Mainly because I'm like, man, in my opinion, it's like 99.9 lip service and 0.001 in my opinion, give or take. Yeah. Now I was talking to I was talking to a mutual friend of ours who comes into this chat right this morning. And we had a discussion about it, and they like watching it. Their perspective has changed because they've gone through the position that I'm in, but now they're on the other side of it and going, I just like to see how full of garbage they might be. They're like, I'm gonna do this. Oh, that's not them. Blah blah blah. Like, for them, it's very humorous because like you guys have no idea what you're talking. Yeah, no idea what you're talking about. Exactly. It'd be like, can we ask? Can someone throw a crypto curveball at them and just go? Can you explain XRP? And just, see what the response.
Never happened. Never happened.
Yeah, I know. But anyway, so their mindset's changed on that. So I'm not quite there yet, just because I'm focused. I'm really focused on me and what I'm trying to do. Whoever's in that seat's in that seat. That doesn't stop me from trying to do what I'm trying to do.
Well, we still have to take care of number one, right? We still have to educate ourselves.
That's right.
We still are in the greatest wealth transfer and opportunity of our lifetime and anybody's lifetime that we know. And so it's one of those things that you need to give it some attention. Oh, okay. She hasn't looked into the Crypt Pass yet.
No, she hasn't. No.
We need to give this attention, but don't let it overtake you. I did watch it last night. I'll give you my take. I wasn't laughing, and I'll tell you why. Like, so there's some things. Number one, back in 2015, 2016, I really was giving it my attention. I was
right.
Because I was in my learning phase about, my awakening phase when it came to certain heroes and things like that I found out some truths that were very disappointing to me. And so I did give it a lot of my attention. I can only say that for those of you that are giving it a lot of attention now, don't make the same mistake that I made, because had I been giving this space my attention back then, I would be in a lot different position than I am in theory. maybe I would have made some mistakes, and I would have watched my portfolio go up and then crash back down, which is probably what would have happened anyway. But in any event, what I'm saying is, be sure to understand what you're giving your attention to, and don't let it take you away from things that can look out for number one. And looking out for number one is understanding the financial transformation that our country and the world is going through, and the incredible opportunities that we have in front of us right now, and all the beautiful people that are building products and trying their damnedest, like the crypto pass gal, that are really trying to make a difference. Optimistic Prime's another one. Patrick Riley, all of these folks that we've had on this show that are building the future. Quincy Jones, yes, Quincy Jones. They're the ones worthy of our attention, in my opinion. And so, but I will say, because of the impact that legislation has on the market, it's going to have an impact. It's going to green light certain things that are being held up right now. It's going to have a better understanding and for people that are building things to know what they can and cannot do, and all these types of things. So it is important to give it some of your attention. And so I did watch it last night. And I'll tell you, Kamala Harris was exactly what I expected. And I've been saying this for several, 2 years now. The bumbling idiot that she's been portrayed, can't form a coherent sentence, and she doesn't know anything, and she's laughing, and all of these things. She played the old appear to be weak when you're a lot stronger. And what has she been doing in the background all this time? She's been studying. She's been studying her tushy off. And maybe she had the questions before. Maybe she didn't. I don't know. But one thing's for certain: she was well prepared. And unfortunately, as I was watching it, she was getting Trump to lose his shit a little bit.
That's good.
And it was good, but listening back to it now, I see some other things that I didn't see while I was watching it live. While I was watching it live, I was like, damn it, but now I see, it went well. But it was very interesting. And in any event, before we talk, because I know Versan wants to share his insights, and Versan just got here, so I want to make the formal introduction to those folks that are waiting for him. Today, we have the pleasure of welcoming a true educator in the world of digital assets and financial strategy. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to Versan Aljarrah, the co-founder of Black Swan Capitalist. Versan is not just an accomplished business owner and investor. He's a trailblazer in the crypto space, known for his sharp insights and innovative approaches. With a background in engineering and business, Versan seamlessly blends analytical thinking with his ventures, creating a potent formula for success. His YouTube channel, Black Swan Capitalist, has become a beacon for those looking to navigate the turbulent waters of the financial markets. From dissecting the intricacies of XRP to exploring the future of blockchain technology, Versan's expertise is unparalleled. He's a gold advocate, a macro analyst, and a relentless researcher, always pushing the boundaries of what's possible. So without further ado, let's dive into the mind of a true financial strategist and crypto pioneer, and welcome Versan to Dip a Toe. Welcome, Versan. How are you?
Good evening. I'm doing very well. Thank you very much for having me on, and nice to meet you, Simon. It's a pleasure.
Nice to meet you as well. Thanks for coming on the show. And I do got to say, you need to bring that lady with you if you go on tour, to have her bring you out at any conference that you go to.
I was going to say, I'm flattered for the intro. That was wonderful intro. Thank you. One thing though, I'm actually the founder, not co-founder.
Well,
founder.
Fired.
Doesn't make a difference. My brother and I, we look alike anyways. So what the hell, right?
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys.
Yeah, but I
look very
fun. I know how it can be at family dinners. It's like, oh, suddenly you're not the founder anymore. I am. Ha ha ha.
I know, man. I think that started with the crypto basic.
Yeah.
You know, that's where they started. I had to send them a personal email and I said, guys, I love the fact you guys, talk about us and float us out there, but you spelt my name wrong. I'm also the founder, and also these words were like twisted here, so I had to like make some corrections. But it's kind of funny,
Well, we love your show, and for those of you that aren't familiar with the Black Swan Capitalist, although if you're in the crypto space, I don't know how you haven't come across their channel yet, but Versan has quite a few wonderful interviews on his channel. He gets some real heavy hitters that come on and give their insight into what's going on. And so I did in our description put a link to their website, and we'll talk a little bit more about what you do, Versan, towards the end of the show. But we were talking the debate that happened last night, and I wondered if you wanted to give a little of your insight and thoughts on what transpired last evening.
Of course, absolutely. But first, real quick, I think it's important. Today is September the 11th. It is a day to remember those who actually lost their lives that are, in the tragic 9/11 attacks, an event that I believe was orchestrated by people within our government and foreign entities to drive us further into war by some globalist agenda ideologies. And we have to recognize the ongoing atrocities that are happening in Gaza, loss of innocent lives in Ukraine, Israel, the countless people in the world who are even dying from poverty and just being impacted by the vaccines and the mandates. So I want to honor them real quick, and all these souls who really gave their lives and became victims really of what we believe to be greed, deceit, and really just a power agenda to kind of consolidate the global wealth into a globalist agenda. So just a prayer, we remember and honor the lives that were lost on 9/11, the suffering in Gaza, Ukraine, and all the people around the world and those harmed by these deceitful agendas. So may they find peace, may their families find peace, and may the truth of their sacrifices be known. Amen.
Amen. God bless. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Very good. Rosemary says thank you. Well, Becky says amen.
Thank her too. Amen. Yes, to all of us, and we'll pray for the XRP community too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So,
that's right after the prayers over breakfast, my friend. It's
yeah.
Every day. Go ahead, Melissa. Go ahead.
Well, you were talking about the debate, right?
Yes. Yeah. I watched it. Simon didn't last night, and wondered if you watched it and what your take on it was.
Unfortunately, I had to watch it. I have to know what's going on in the world just so I can give perspective, really. And tied into like the research my brother and I do. But I mean, that was just, it's Hollywood theatrics at this point, there's just so much, excuse my language, just so much shit going on, narratives that are being bombarded. This is obviously scripted. They didn't talk about anything that really matters to the people. It was more like, you said this and I said this. So the fact that nothing was addressed that needs to be addressed. Like the fact that we're living through a profound moment in history where there's a shift in global balance of power. There are economic forces out there that are trying to really destroy the United States and the BRICS nations even. And this is eclipsing, what the G7 and their larger economic force has been trying to do for a long time. And there's just so many transformations that are happening within the United States. And it's putting us, our global position in the United States, it's challenging us to face like the changes that are coming, whether we like it or not. And the critical question that should have been discussed in the debate really is, how is the US going to navigate this new reality? How are we going to deal with these problems? Are we going to continue down a path of confrontation, impose higher tariffs, tax the middle class more in America so we can pay for those tariffs? And what are we going to do? Keep going to war, engage in provocate? I'm sorry, guys.
No, I got
It's all
it.
good.
Yeah.
I've been doing it all day.
Are we gonna provoke? I've been talking all day, guys. Are we gonna like provoke the world into war because of China's rise? And that's really what's happening here, guys. China is rising so fast, and they are slowly dominating not just the financial system, but pretty much what you see here happening in the States. The farmland that's being bought by the military bases, our infrastructure has been infiltrated by the Chinese. So it's really the Chinese who are taking over. And if you go back to 2021 and you read Klaus Schwab's book, The Great Narrative, he talks about this in the book, how they're going to basically give the keys to the Chinese because they already have an obedience situation with their population. The population is so indoctrinated that they know how to keep quiet and not like rise up to the challenge, right? So none of those things were discussed. Trump didn't talk about the central bankers. Kamala Harris did not talk about the central banks. They were just going back and forth. So I thought it was just a waste of time. And this kind of ties us pretty much into the broader narrative that there are people in this space who really believe that there's this white hat alliance. Are you guys familiar with this narrative?
Yes.
Okay. So I talked to a lot of people off record. Okay. And these are things I won't try to talk about in public, but a lot of people are telling me that, hey, the white hats have taken control, with stories like Klaus Schwab was arrested from the World Economic Forum. Do you remember that narrative that came out recently? And this all ties in together, guys, with what's happening at the political level as well. They said he was arrested. Many people told me this in this space. So I decided to do my own research, and you're not going to believe this. He was not arrested, in fact. He simply stepped down because of all the public attention and the public scrutiny he was getting, and he put someone else in charge. So there's a lot of information that is is bad information, in my opinion, and how easily these facts can be twisted and manipulated. And it highlights some of the deeper issues that we're not talking about, that there's a lot of misplaced faith in false idols. And I think that's really what this comes down to. People are going to continue to wait for some savior to come here and fix everything, whether it's a political figure or a hidden force. But the truth is, the people, we have to take responsibility for our own freedoms. We have to take responsibility for our families, our children, and our own future. Now, a lot of people in this space, even last night, I had a phone call with a dear friend of mine. I'm not going to mention his name, but he tried to invoke scripture. And it's very fascinating when you try to invoke scripture as a defense mechanism for what you still don't understand. And he was talking about the scripture. And I said, well, it's fascinating because Lucifer in scripture is actually called the light bearer. The light bearer is the one who brings self-discovery and truth to the people. Did you know that? That's a fact, guys. But it's a truth that can be easily so deceived. And I think that's what's happening, leading many people towards a false sense of freedom, a false sense of security. And this isn't about waiting for divine intervention. It's about really confronting the reality that we have to live in, the economic conditions that we are subjected to. And the hard truth is just that relying on an outside force, to correct the world's problems is only going to keep us trapped in a cycle of despair. And that's what I'm experiencing.
That's a lazy way. That's a lazy way, right? When you decide that you're going to attach yourself to whatever particular hero it is, and expect them to solve all of the problems, that's not really necessarily the best way to go. And that's why we were saying at the beginning of the show tonight is, give this some attention, but don't give it all of your attention. There are so many things that are happening out in the world right now, the digital asset space, a lot of new things happening that we can benefit from by doing our own research and setting ourselves up for the future, not only to protect the assets that we do have, but for the potential wealth that we could have in the future. And so giving all of our attention and our faith in one party person, your pastor or whatever, is really deflecting the responsibility. And so I agree with you. I choose to not live in doom and gloom. I'm a very optimistic person, as anyone that watches the show knows, that I am optimistic, and I do believe that there are good people that are working to make the world better. Now they got to fight, and we got to support those people that we believe that are going to make it better. Or if we come across something that might not necessarily be for us, but we can benefit from it, then I'm going to pay attention and give attention to that as well. So
Yeah. And I apologize for like hijacking the intro. It's just, I had a very interesting,
you got stressed out, bro. You got
well,
straight.
I had a very interesting discussion with somebody who tried to keep fighting me on this. And, we were going in circles. And my final thought on this, and I promise we'll move into digital assets. And I apologize to your audience as well. I just kind of went on a rant there, and I wasn't even finished, which is funny because I could keep going on. But my final thought is pretty much that as a democracy, people really you have the right, we do, to vote the establishment out. Okay. But the problem is that the establishment continues to subvert the people, right? And keep the wrong people in power who continue to change the laws that take away your freedom so you cannot subvert them. And that's what's happening. So unless something changes, as far as what I just said there, you're going to need a real revolution to see real change. And I've reiterated this many times. It's within the people. That's where the real battle is, guys. So that's my final thought. And of course, we can shift on to digital assets, wealth preservation, so much to talk about.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate your thoughts. And a couple of our long-standing listeners say no apologies necessary, and they love your rants. So you're good.
I appreciate that. Yeah. It's just perspective, guys. You do what you want with it, right? Everyone sees things in a different way.
Sometimes we don't want to think about things that may be seen as negative, but you did speak some reality there, and that's why it's so important for us to continue to educate ourselves, continue to keep ourselves in our networks of folks, so that we can lift each other up, so that we can fight, and we can recognize things that maybe we don't see. Easier when you have a network of folks around. So I appreciate you, and I also know, Versan, that you know things that you can't really talk about, and so your passion kind of comes from some of that that knowledge that you can't really necessarily share publicly.
Yeah, it comes from my heart. It really does. That's where it comes from, guys.
And I know that. I know that. I want to say hello to the 96 folks that are listening to the Dip a Toe show. If you're new to the show, if you would please like, share, and subscribe, we would really appreciate it. We're trying to grow our channel. Northern Living is here. Quincy Butler is here. Quincy Butler appreciates us. Northern Living, what did he say? He said something to Versan earlier. I thought, he says he agreed with you 100%, divide and conquer, keep people divided so they can't come together and make change, which is a reason for shows like this. We do try to create a community here so that we can be friendly and help lift each other up, educate each other, particularly in the digital asset space. And so, Simon, do you have anything? You've been so quiet for the past couple minutes.
Well, I'm listening and taking it in, and I'm hearing Versan's frustration, right? I mean, he's clearly in a lot of information. Some, as you said, can't talk about. You just can't, right? And that's a burden. Right. I too have been in situations like that where it's just I'm taking in a lot of information, and this is why I did not watch the show last night. Is I've actually I've kind of taken a different route, a route that is tried and true and is very, very successful, no matter how great or not great of a person you are. And it's kind of this mindset of I do care what is going on in this world and who is in that seat. However, it's more important that I strategize based upon which one of those individuals plus team is going to be in that seat so I can continue to thrive, and because one thing that this digital asset space has taught me, and when Melissa talks about wealth transfer, I know we're going to talk about some of that tonight as well, but that wealth transfer isn't just monetarily. It's the power that comes with having enough resources to do what needs to be doing, and that's it. However much resources it takes to get the job done, job's done. Once job is done, it is forever done.
Yeah.
And if we come together like we already are, and you interject new money per se, new wealth to new people that are passionate like Versan, Melissa, myself, everybody in that chat. Yes, change can happen, and the normal control levers that would be pulled ain't gonna do bo diddly, because we have our own levers. We're self-reliant on ourselves. Plus, we have I would say, arguably a trusted community that we align with more, as opposed to, what seems to be very untrustworthy individuals at the top shelf of leadership in this country and in other countries.
Right.
So that wealth is not just digital assets. That wealth is the power to change. And I don't want to say it like this, but I don't know how to say it in any other way. That's by any and all means necessary under the letter of the law.
You're talking, yes, common law. That's something that needs to be brought back, by the way.
It is. And that too, though, that's time, resources, change your thinking. I mean, that there's a lot. And so that takes resources. That takes people like, okay, I don't know about you, Versan, but I know myself, I still am in a position to bills have to be paid. Well, I need cash flow or resources in order to meet that demand. But if those demands are met, suddenly I do not have to sell myself per se to the 9 to 5. I now can be in my space and place to now be a part of any change or movements back to a certain way, or progressing to a certain way. And I have the resources to sustain that. Kind of like compounding interest. Compounding interest is great, right? Especially if it's uninterrupted. But as soon as you interrupt that compounding interest, it falters. It will not achieve the level that it could have. It will still achieve of a high level, but the more time that happens, bam, 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 then the less and less and less and less it's able to be that greatness that it could have been.
Good point. Yep, very true.
So that's kind
of
that's why I didn't watch the show. That's why I didn't watch it. I'm like, bro, I got work to do. Y'all can have your drama match. You know what I mean? I'm like, yo, normies, you'll figure it out.
Peace out.
And that's no disrespect. I got work to do.
There was a moment yesterday when I was on my YouTube screen and I was like, okay, I have to watch these two, but which one do I do first? And it was the presidential debate, and it was my friend Gerald Celente. And I was like, okay, I'll go with Gerald Celente first.
Right.
That was kind of funny. But yeah, I had to watch them both. And I totally agree with you, man. You speak like a true patriot. So thank you.
Yeah, definitely. Yes, he's very well educated on the whole sovereignty and
absolutely easy on the words.
And that's the beauty of it. Everyone kind of brings their knowledge to the space, and that's your community right there. That's how we can make change.
Yes, and this is where I say, it's interesting. The folks that don't give this any attention whatsoever, they're so quick to dismiss. They want to call you a conspiracy theory or silly, or if it's anything to do with cryptocurrency, digital assets, you're dealing in something that's too dangerous, or it's only for criminals or whatever. What I've chosen to do, because I have a job that I work at, I have family and friends and my man, that takes my time and then doing this show. I have replaced my my quote time off where, maybe I would have got involved in some television shows or
Distractions.
did
Yep.
some things like
Distractions.
feeding my mind with garbage to educating myself. And I do it quite a lot. I mean, I have thousands of hours, and this is my choice. And so when people dismiss me so quickly, I'm like, you put in some effort and then come back and try to dismiss me. Because if you can have a conversation with me about it and tell me why I'm wrong and not give me a one-liner, not a one-liner that you've heard from somebody else that you're regurgitating
Right.
back,
Regurgitated. Right.
yeah, then we can have a discussion. But I that's the other thing is a lot of times they think that that I'm just following some dude in his mother's basement talking crazy talk, and I'm like, listen here, I'm like watching World Economic Forum videos and Fidelity, and I'm like listening to financial people that you would respect if you knew who they were. You give them respect unknowingly anyway. I'm actually giving them attention and listening to what they're saying.
Well,
So
I think you're
don't come
doing
at me.
something terrific. You're doing
Well, I
something
appreciate
terrific,
it.
and what you're doing is you're trying to help people and spread knowledge. And
All I'm trying to do.
yeah, it becomes very clear too. And this is just how the way the world works. There are going to
Right.
be winners, there are going to be losers in the evolving financial landscape. And those who understand what's happening in the world, the changes, you can adopt faster, and you're going to be far better off than those who remain uninformed. So
Absolutely.
Well,
Yeah.
no, so speaking of the changes, so I happen to know because I've followed your channel for a long time. You
thanks.
you are well educated on XRP. And I know a lot of our listeners are interested in XRP also. And so I was hoping that, just to get your take on, like an overview of XRP and what role do you think it's playing in the market, in the cryptocurrency digital asset market overall, and kind of what sets it apart from the other ones that are out there.
Sure. Okay. So really, XRP is not just about moving money. It's about stabilizing money, stabilizing currencies, bridging them, providing the liquidity that is necessary for transactions to settle. It's designed to connect other digital assets. So that could be your Bitcoins, that could be your Ethereum. So other digital assets, other fiat currencies, and financial systems through ISO technology, that's messaging system really, to a single protocol. And that's pretty much what XRP has done. So it's really disrupted global finance. And that's really where Ripple, the technology, shines, right? It acts like a rule book, Ripple's protocol, that sets the standards for all these transactions to occur. And there's an individual I want your listeners to check out. His name is Glenn Hutchins. Now, Glenn Hutchins, I put a short on him a long time ago on X. He talks about this in very simple terms, right? How the Ripple protocol allows everything to work together seamlessly, whether it's bridging two different fiat currencies or connecting other digital assets with traditional ones. This is exactly what I just said. And that's how he would phrase it as well. So XRP is certainly playing, it's so foundational to what's coming next. And as far as the technology, I think XRP has a very bright future. There are some differences and similarities between other assets like XLM, even though they complement each other in many ways that even myself have not become to understand just yet. But they serve different purposes in the global marketplace. But again, seamlessly interoperable. They complement each other, a lot of these technologies. So even though the XRP price, and that's pretty much the argument most people want to use to provoke an argument, it's the price hasn't moved much lately. But that's because the institutions are not ready to take this technology to the next level just yet. They are still bridging things. They are still trying to pilot things, see how it's going to function, whether things are ready to go or not. And in my opinion, I think the stage has already been set. Like Rosie Rios said, the train left the station a long time ago. But my personal opinion now is that XRP, and I'm so convinced, it's going to take a massive, I'm not going to say a crisis, okay, guys, but a geopolitical event to unfold before everybody starts using this technology. So the stage is being set behind the scenes for XRP to consolidate and dominate the financial markets. The technology, again, designed to consolidate. And the reason why it's going to consolidate all the money is also because of its design, how it's scalable, its infinite scalability. That's how it was designed. In the design, that's how it was meant to be. And maybe I'm not articulating it the best way right now, but I look at what's being done, not what's being said, because there are so-called experts like Mark Moss and a lot of these Bitcoin maxis and other individuals out there who are really marketing, they're really touting Bitcoin technology, while not one institution is really adopting this technology for scalability, for use case. It's more like an investment, a gold.
It's a store of value. Yeah, there are a lot of people now. Well, in the beginning, Versan, I used to hear, because I started out in the space in Bitcoin, really learning about Bitcoin, and there was talk about peer to peer and more so talking about peer to peer, true to the white paper, what it started out with, right, Simon? I mean, that's what the white paper said, and they were building, creating Lightning and all of these types of things. However, what I see, more and more of them are starting to agree that it is a store of value, like a digital gold. And now that we have the Bitcoin ETFs and those types of things, I see those the likes of BlackRock using it as a tool that they're going to be able to, what do they call it? Rehypothecate it. Is that what they call it? Where you're not going to really be buying the real Bitcoin. You're going to be buying an interest in the Bitcoin. And so it is completely different than XRP. And it has its own, it's going to deal with energy and stuff. But yeah, I don't see that as it's not the same. It's not scalable to what XRP is going to become, right? It's not even, it can't do it.
Well, the thing is, the biggest question we have in the world today is, this is what the people should be asking themselves. What is money? What is a store of value? It used to be the dollar, but look at what's happened to the dollar. So we have to ask ourselves, what is a store of value? Where can we put our money that is safe and it could, not be so volatile? If you look at Bitcoin, right? And I'm not going to try to bounce back and forth on the Bitcoin. I've had this discussion thousands of times. A little burned out right now, but Bitcoin is not store value. No store of value jumps from 60,000, 70,000 to 10, 15,000, just like that. That is not store of value. That is extremely volatile by a few people who really own the Bitcoins that are out there, and they can drop that shit on a dime if they wanted to. They really could. Okay. And the fact that they're creating these Satoshis through ETFs, hey, everyone can own a piece of this. I mean, listen, they are incentivizing people. It is being marketed so well. And I see what they're doing here. I don't have the energy to get into all the gritty details about it, but they are marketing this shit like I've never seen before. And whenever you put out the facts that can disrupt that, not even joking, man, there are narratives out there and algorithms that are put into place so that this is not seen by other people. They don't want people to know that the other technologies that are being implemented into the system, integrated into the system, for where the 1%ers are going to use this for their reset of all things. They don't want you to know about that stuff. Okay. You don't even have to dig deep anymore.
I agree with you. I do agree with you, Versan. I'm sorry. Because you're making a good point. The main things that we hear about on the news is Bitcoin.
They say one thing, they do something else. Isn't that
right?
concerning?
They are kind of using it to manipulate. I do see that, and I do see it as whether it's not Bitcoin's fault. I'm not saying it's Bitcoin's fault, but
SHA-256. SHA-256 originates from a white paper from an intelligence agency in 1996.
Yeah,
that's not coincidence.
No, not at all.
Right.
But
an
I will
intelligence
say that
operation.
They are using, the media is using it as a distraction even more so for taking the attention away from the other things, and things like XRP, XDC, XLM, these other assets and projects that are being built that are going to be in the fabric of our new financial system that most people aren't aware of. So I do agree with you on that point.
Yeah, and I'm not saying Bitcoin's going to disappear. My podcast, we never tell people like, hey, in the past, I used to explain to people because I believe in transparency. I want people to understand that, yes, Bitcoin was involved in certain things. Yes, there's a correlation and a revolving door between Tether and the bond market, which seems to be the biggest Ponzi scheme of all time. And if Tether collapses because it is a Ponzi scheme and its affiliations with the bond market, which seems to be failing, yet we keep propping it up. And every time we prop it up, we have to print more Tether and then Bitcoin goes up. If that collapses, it's going to cascade into Bitcoin. And many people are going to lose money like they already have. It's a casino where the house always wins more and a few people own that shit and they can dump it on a dime like that. And guess what the beautiful thing about it is? Well, hey, we don't know who's behind Bitcoin when very few people actually do know who's behind Bitcoin. When the thing is, the SEC can't even go after them. So they can get away with the crime when they're ready to do it. There's no one to go to. Who are you going to arrest? You don't know who the owner of Bitcoin is. Well, it's pretty much clear, but very few people, even Martin Armstrong, he worked with George Bush, man. He worked with the central banks. He told me off record that was certainly an intelligence agency. We tried to talk about this on the show. He only had limited information to share with the public. Like, I try to pull this stuff out of people. I don't bring people on my show to tell me what I don't know. I bring them on the show to corner them and see if they'll give out information to confirm what we've been saying.
It's amazing the folks that you've gotten to come on the show, especially given I've heard you say that very several times on other shows where you've said just that. Like, I'm wanting to get them to tell things, and yet you still get these people to come on your show.
I mean, I talked to Scott Ritter off record. I mean, that's incredible. And the thing is, Scott Ritter is not a finance guy. What are we going to talk about on our show? I'm trying to get Kathy on right now. Austin Fitz. I'm trying to get a lot of people on because there are real, genuine questions that I have for my brother and I. We want to know what the hell's going on. And we're really genuinely trying to figure this out. We're not here to like bounce back and forth with people on ideas and concepts. You know what I'm talking about, guys?
Yeah. You want to keep building up your education that you've already learned.
Exactly.
Put together some pieces, and you want some more dots connected for you.
Exactly. Right. And that's the important thing. But please,
from legitimate sources. No. So getting back to XRP, if you don't mind,
yes.
where do you see XRP, the future of XRP evolving, especially with the ongoing regulatory developments? What do you think is going to be? Because like you said, there's going to have to be some kind of a catastrophic type event, which when you were talking, I was thinking right away, problem, reaction, solution, because that's how they set things up. It's always, they set the stage so that they can come in with the solution. And from what I can tell, this technology is the solution to a lot of the money issues that are going on. And I just wonder, like, what do you see? What are you thinking about that?
Well, the regulations, listen, the lawsuit with the SEC, it's very important for people to understand that the facts and the law has always been on the side. XRP, personally, the digital asset, is a native currency to Ripple. It has no political bias. Whether the SEC sued Ripple or even if they tried to shut Ripple down, they can't stop what XRP has already done and what it's going to continue to do. So they can't affect the global impact that's going to have eventually later on. Not to mention, it's being adopted all over the world except in the United States. We're holding it back for some reason. We tried to mimic it through the JP Morgan coin, a few other things we've tried. It's not working. And exactly, XRP, I think, is going to play a key role in where all of this is going in the future. the US is going to eventually get cornered into using this, or whether the US is already getting ready to use it and setting the stage to use it. The interesting thing is that the technology also allows interoperability for central bank digital currencies if that's the route they wish to go, right? I don't really care whether it happens or it doesn't, but it gives them the platform through Ripple as well to have that that platform where they can issue CBDCs if they want, which is also interoperable with the Stellar Foundation. What's their initiative? Banking the unbanked. They're very complementary towards each other in many ways. So it has a very positive future. As far as regulation, again, the facts and the laws have been on our side. The whole thing with the SEC, I think, was a sideshow to get people to shake them out, buy time. I mean, even look today, XRP is not a security. That was already, passed by the judge, and we already knew based on its technology, it cannot be a security. If anything is a security, it's Bitcoin and Ethereum. So that's just to show what you're going to see now as they continue and strategically release information to the public as far as regulations. More regulations are going to continue to take shape at the institutional level. And as that begins to play out in real time, as the economy collapses at the same time and converges into this system where the solution is ready to go, like I said, setting the stage, you're going to see a lot of institutional money prepare to literally flood these markets. And it's not just XRP, it's a few of the technologies we've discussed off record. So that's how it's going to play out, in my opinion. And one of the biggest key things that we need to talk about is stablecoins. Stablecoins is going to be, I mean, it's even in the name, stablecoins. It's for stability. Whether the narrative's being now put out by everybody, we were talking about this 3 years ago, stablecoins, right? And now it's coming out. You have a real USD. And people are out there, critics who don't really know anything, are saying that it's going to knock XRP out. Well, that doesn't make any sense. It's being built on the XRP ledger. It's using the very same technology, the very same infrastructure for it to use and utilize the liquidity for the settlement, for the transaction cost, the efficiency. That's going to contribute to the value of XRP later on. So real USD is out now. That's a stable coin. You're going to see a lot more come out eventually. And I think that's where this is all going. And you're going to significantly see value come into this space. But they're just staging this and they're playing it very carefully. Okay. So, and the funny thing is this, with the economy, what's happening right now, and I said this 2 years ago, and I still think this is how they're going to set it. They're going to make the economic conditions so unbearable to where people are forced to sell their assets. So you no longer can hold on to anything because you have to meet that inflation that continues to rise faster than you can earn the money in your pocket. And that's happening in real time already.
You know, can I just interject something real quick? And so you're making a very good point here. And I've even started to do it myself. Is we know something's going to go down. Something's going to go down. And it's going to be sooner than later. This is your opportunity right now to kind of restructure yourself. If you have a bunch of debts out there with high payments, a whole bunch of them and whatever, where you're like living paycheck to paycheck and you're barely making it so that, if something happened, your whole world's going to crash. Now is the time to start thinking about it and like maybe reorganizing yourself to get it to where it's a more manageable payments that you can make. You could still make the higher amounts, but I'm just saying if you can't just pay them completely off, try to make it so that you can afford to live in the event that something bad happens, so that you don't have to sell your assets. Because you're right, Versan, a lot of us, we're squirreling away money, buying these digital assets and hoping for the day that they're going to go up in value. And probably what's going to happen is, they probably will go down and people will panic and sell. And hopefully you're educating yourself enough to understand what you hold, know what you hold, and make an educated decision before you go making decisions on selling anything. Because like, as Simon always says, you don't lose money unless you sell.
Good point. Very good point. Yeah.
And so I guess I'm just saying, like, with what you just said, It makes a lot of sense. There is something coming on the horizon. Do we know when it's going to happen exactly? No, but the writing's on the wall, right?
Well, Simon, I really want to give you an opportunity to speak as well, but if I can please just say one more thing.
No.
I'm not trying to go on a tantrum here. First of all, guys,
No. I'm just taking it in. Go for it.
thank you so much. Well, also to your audience, those who know me, like really know me, and you and I, Melissa, we've done phone calls. I am not a doom and gloom person. I am not a black pill individual. Some people have labeled me that. If you talk to me, my advice, I'm very realistic about the situation that we're facing. And there are ways, guys, to tell when something is about to break. Like there is so much leverage in the system. We all know this, right? Well, which banks are offloading their balance sheets? Why are the central banks about to do QE? This is not a coincidence of timing. It's because they need to, they're trying to buy more time. So my advice to those who really understand what's going on here and those who don't is I teach people on my courses as well to ignore the narratives, ignore all the outside shows that are going on. You have to concentrate on what really matters. And this is exactly what I tell all my friends. Do not be confused with the latest drama. The real threat isn't about the politicians. It's really the inflation. The inflation is the silent killer that's going to make it very challenging for people to make decisions, to get deeper into debt, to sell assets that you can't afford to hold on to just to meet the rising costs. That's how simple it is. So the strategy is pretty much straightforward. Just pay attention to what the 1%ers are doing. That's what we teach, right? We do exactly what the 1%ers, just on a smaller scale. And for investors out there who are really serious, you have to change your mindset. You have to cut back on unnecessary spending habits. And it's not just about saving money. It's about protecting yourself because there is going to be an economic squeeze that is coming. And I'm not really trying to tell people that they're going to lose everything, but it's the truth, guys. There is a lot of stuff coming our way, and this falls into the election. This falls into what's coming in 2025. It's going to get very weird from here. So I'm not trying to scare people. I want them to understand that there are loopholes around this, but you have to be mindful of the challenges that we're facing. So it's important to have some cash. Personally, instead of going to Costa Rica once, I'm not even kidding, with my friends, I took $2,000 and put that all into water supplies, making sure that I had real water tanks to store fresh water in and alkaline as well. Like these are things, sacrifices I had to make to just be able to be confident and comfortable where this is all going. Enough food for a year. These are investments I've made. So you know what I'm talking about, guys? And I'm not like a doom and gloom guy. I'm not freaking out either. I've been right. Look at the price of goods and services now. They're very expensive. I love gold. I told people to buy gold like 2-3 years ago, and it's doing very well, and it's going to continue to do well because gold is riding the decline of the dollar. So there are easy ways to make money in all of this too. Also, following trends is a great way. I still swing trade. Like right when the WHO a few weeks ago came out and said, "Hey, Mpox, right? Whatever you want to call it." I immediately looked at my friend and I said, "Hey, man, we got to invest in this robotics company. We invested in this robotics company that is apparently taking out all the jobs for restaurants and things like that." See, as soon as the narrative came out, we already knew where to put the money because we learned from 2020,
Yeah.
Anyways, guys, sorry.
Yeah, that's right. I'm curious, did you guys also invest in toilet paper companies?
That is genius. But I did invest in
bidet manufacturers.
What? Huh?
What
I got a bidet. I got a bidet.
Oh man,
it's not really. It's not really a bidet. It's a spray nozzle, and I installed it myself. I was very proud of myself. Ryan won't use it.
Did you borrow the washer, the spray nozzle from the sink? You got a new sink, so you took the old one, attached it to the toilet. Sorry.
There's a lot of way to make money, guys. Like, the future is, there's no doubt about this. Blockchain is just one investment, guys. And we talk about this all the time, right? But there are also investments that you can make in artificial intelligence, other technologies out there. There's no doubt that the job market is on a sharp decline. I put a tweet out a few weeks ago and I was right. I told people there was going to be a 60% decline in the unemployment sector as we approach the new year. That is coming. It really is. So, there are things you could do to mitigate all the risks that with what's coming. So just be mindful of that.
Awesome. Thank you.
So, as far as stable coins go, and I know you mentioned, the RLUSD. We talked about that last week on the show. What are the main types of stable coins that you see, and how do they differ from each other? Like and how are they currently being used in the financial system? And do you see RLUSD being used differently than the ones that we're currently using?
Well, I hope so, because the stable coin like Tether is pegged to the dollar, to a fiat currency. And then the dollar is backed by debt, nothing else. That debt is now collapsing it's collapsing on itself. So there are risks associated with stable coins being pegged to fiat currencies and other fiat currencies, because the dollar is still the reserve currency. So it would naturally cascade and affect other currencies. With real USD, I think it's very interesting. It was built on the XRP ledger. Now, I don't know much information as far as what is it going to be backed by, what is it going to be pegged to.
They say the treasuries.
Okay,
they say the dollar and the U.S. treasuries, and it's going to be audited on a regular basis, very transparent, 1-for-1 is what I read.
Well, treasury is no more than U.S. debt. So
now I'm going to interject. Now I'm going to interject right here, right now. Typically, it's countries that buy the treasuries, correct?
Interesting.
Okay, traditionally, but now
other countries are buying up the treasuries.
Now countries are they're kind of, they sell some to get some back, they sell some to get some back. It's this give and take globally, but that's not the new play. The new play is you get the masses to buy your treasuries 1-for-1, and now they own the debt in the treasury. So if a stable coin tokenized is backed by a treasury, and that treasury is tokenized, XDC, XRPL, etc., then now the globe holds those debts. And now you have a brand new shiny toy in town that can sustain, where not everybody's going to dump, because we have to use the thing.
Interesting. And if I may add some flavor to that, there is
please salt and pepper it, baby.
Spice it up.
All right. Yes. Okay. So I know Senator Warren with the Senate Banking Committee, they were putting laws into place that if the United States defaulted on its debt, which I don't think could happen because we can continuously print into oblivion, but if the U.S. did default, they could actually force people to buy the government debt. So it's very possible that there's a relationship to what you just said there. It's just a thought. All right. I'm just speculating, guys. Obviously, we don't have all the facts, but I like healthy speculation. Yeah. What I think is very important, though, and this is something very interesting, is that the World Gold Council is somebody I follow very closely. And of course, the Bank of International Settlements. Now, the Bank of International Settlements actually has talked about building stable coins on the XRP ledger. Now, they didn't say it exactly that way, but they did mention Ripple's technology. For us who understand it pretty much, we understand when they talk about Ripple, we're talking about building something upon the XRP ledger, right, on those very rails. So I thought that was very interesting. And the World Bank has mentioned the stablecoin narrative as well. We're all familiar with that at this point. So the Bank of International Settlements Basel III requirements, there's a requirement in there, and I talk about this a lot because it mandates that every central bank holds significant gold reserves. And I found that to be interesting too, because the World Gold Council said, well, there hasn't been a stable coin yet. And I know what they're talking about. But the World Gold Council works with the Bank of International Settlements very closely and the IMF. If they're all mentioning the whole stablecoin narrative, the central banks are still buying the gold. My point though is that eventually I do believe that there is going to be a gold-backed stablecoin built upon the XRP ledger. And I hope that does happen, because what is really going to keep governments in check, what really brings stability to the markets, what really holds things together was the gold standard.
Mm-hmm.
It kept tyrants in check, by the way, central bankers. That's the tyrants in today's world.
Have you given any look to Iraq?
To what?
Iraq. Have you looked at all at Iraq? Iraq and what Iraq's currently doing right now.
With the Iraqi dinar?
Yes, sir. And their whole system.
Well, I know they're joining the BRICS. They've, I know they're reevaluating their debt, restructuring it. And for them to restructure their debt, you have to have something stable in it. And I think that's why they joined the BRICS. And the BRICS, their initiative, and I have a document right here actually, where they talked about 150 something countries joining this blockchain initiative, where it's interoperable with the project Enbridge. Enbridge, in my opinion, I think now there's more information that's built upon the XRP ledger, maybe not, but it's interoperable with it. Now, I know Iraq and Zimbabwe are doing a lot of debt restructuring, and that requires something gold-backed. So there is some gold intersection there, and I think that's very interesting. Now, I don't have all the details. If you could share that with me, that'd be great.
Iraq is backing up their currency with all their physical assets, not just gold, but oil.
Basket of assets.
They're doing basket. Yeah, their debts are allegedly paid. They don't have debts, allegedly. I haven't. There's no way for me that I know how to verify that. They're in process of getting rid of their in-house in their jurisdiction. They're getting rid of their old notes, and they're doing new notes soon to be launched very soon. Smaller notes, lower denominations, kind of like what we have in the US, right? 1, 5, 10, 50, etc. Now everybody allegedly outside Iraq is still holding the old notes, and it's speculated that there will be a time where all can cash in at a revaluation or a new exchange rate, which is far superior than what it is right now. Now, at first you might go, that kind of doesn't make sense, but Iraq has the Port of Fa project plus the development road project, where it's basically they're building a huge road going from Port of Fa all the way up to Turkey to make the shipping time from China and others shorter. Now, how can you do that of an exchange rate at 0.0076? You can't.
Very good point. Yeah.
That's not going to work with the math.
Interestingly, also China is holding a significant portion of the debt in the world. So it's very possible that China, I've heard the narrative where the Chinese elders have pretty much dissolved all global debt. Have you heard that?
No, I actually haven't heard that. I've heard the elders, but I haven't heard that take of it.
Yeah. So, I'm not surprised. I know Zimbabwe is doing something very similar.
Yeah, Zimbabwe is doing some.
It ties us into right. It ties us going back to a basket of currencies that are backed by real assets. That's going to also, sideline the US dollar and the influence of it, because the dollar has been weaponized. And it's not just weaponized against other countries. It's also been weaponized against its own citizens in order to weaponize it against other countries. So I am not surprised to see someone put in the comments here, don't forget about Project Sandman too. I've talked about this many times with Gregory Manarino and so forth. But yeah, these things are happening in real time. And that's why I was, started with the whole presidential debate. It's like, what are our priorities in the States? Are we going to continue to bicker and go back and forth when our country is continuously being taken over? But all these shifts are happening in real time. And, we got to be part of that. And I think the best way for us to do that is through the investments of the technologies that are building the infrastructure for all these new systems to go live on. But yeah, I think we're going to, in the US, we're going to get cornered in a point where we have no choice but to probably follow in the footsteps of the BRICS. There are some states within the United within America that are already taking steps to make gold legal tender. So that's not an accident. Some big shifts are happening, and I think you're on the right path, man. Absolutely. But it's a lot of debt restructuring. Debt restructuring is one of the things, and there's that incentive for central banks to dissolve a lot of that debt in the world. One way to do that, I think, is also by raising the gold price significantly. There are tools in the arsenal of central banks, whether they're here or not, but the institutions that be to significantly increase the gold prices. The gold price is still being manipulated, guys, and I'm sure you already know this. So
yeah.
Well,
I wanted Simon to answer. Do you think it would be a digital exchange on their currency? And then I had another comment after that.
Okay, so I don't think it will be a digital digital exchange in regards to at the you and me level. Okay, at the upper echelons of financial institutions, an example of a financial institution I'm giving reference to would be JP Morgan, as they are one of a few banks that have their foothold in currencies globally. I know I think Citibank is another. So that can be a digital exchange, could be a digital exchange at that point. But there's a lot of speculation on how this is going to take place. But it is very obvious that it is going to take place because, as you're mentioning earlier, paying attention to the change, the things that are happening. Al-Sudani, president of Iraq, he came to the U.S. It's been a long time since our brother from another nation has come through this nation like that. And he just did a quick handshake with a few people, and then he visited a whole bunch of states and those top companies. And he's trying to get those companies to come over there and play ball, and they are most definitely on the way. And that's just one country. He's made the rounds. There's been a lot of consistent communications within the public, and I know you're familiar with this, as you are, Melissa, where they say just a few little buzzwords, and then it's a whole bunch of muddy water. But then they continue to repeat the same buzzwords over time, or they'll let it fizzle out, and then they'll say it again. Those types of things where you have the IMF that is openly on their website praising Iraq, that they are going to bring confidence and trust back to the banking system. That's big
I can
words.
easily see that.
So it's so back to the question at hand. A digital exchange, definitely at the international level, I could see that, because anybody who's going to come through, like, okay, let's say you're holding dinars right now. You're going to have to go to a specific bank. I'm assuming here, speculating, but you would go to a special place to do your transactions. Cool, you get your digital US dollars, but those physicals have to go somewhere. And at that point, it would be a digital exchange. We've exchanged. Here's your VeChain tracking number, and there's the boat it's on, and you all get your dollar bills back so you can burn them in your bonfire. Same.
I can see that.
Yeah. And the thing about this is another play is like, okay, so we send them their currency, they send us ours back. Well, this is great. Why is it great? Because they get to remove those dollars from circulation. They can just burn them, make more digits, and it's another way to possibly hide inflation or maybe reduce inflation. I don't know how the mechanics of all that works, but either way, there's an opportunity for all the countries in all the world who have Iraqi dinar to get some of their dollars back, give it to the people, interject money into their local economies, and it's like nothing ever happened. Anyways, enough about that.
I have a few. I have two of the Iraqi dinars. Friend of mine, David, he told me about them like a year ago, and the Zimbabwe's, I have about 4 or 5 of those. So I've been keeping up to date on it a little bit. I just know they're doing some debt restructuring, and they're looking to backing their currencies with
absolutely
hard assets.
And hard or physical assets. Yeah, physical.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And the real in conclusion to like everything we talked about here, what does it break down to? It's the fact that there's this escalating issue of credit card delinquencies, this escalation of credit card debt and debt. It's a symptom of some of the deeper financial problems and political problems that we have in our economy today. And as inflation rises and there's this debt cycle that becomes increasingly unsustainable, we got to continue to sustain it with more debt. And that's really what is the broader implication of all of this. And that's why there's de-dollarization. But that's why there has to be gold somewhere in this. And that's, I think, a very important and critical part for people to understand, that gold will have an intersection. Those who, like Jack Mallers, he was on a show with Peter Schiff the other day. I watched it, and I did that because I support Peter Schiff in many ways. But a lot of the stuff they talked about on Jack's end was completely nonsense, because he just gave all into this illusion of the whole Bitcoin narrative, ignoring the fact that gold still has a role in society today. In fact, people believe that gold's role is diminishing. It's not. It's actually growing. With tokenization and stable coins, you can actually bring back, revitalize gold again. And that's it. That's what it seems the 1%ers are doing when you really look closely at this. So
yeah,
I'm
they're
really
really
trying to
buying.
figure that shit out. I've been trying to figure that out for almost a year now. I knew stable coins backed by gold were going to play a key role in this. I've been pushing out the whole IMF documents for like 2 years, the World Bank for 3 years. I knew that was coming, but we're at the point now where it's like, well, where does gold fit in, right? And we're getting to that point where it's going to be revealed to the people. So, and by the way, just for your listeners, this is like the first time in history where anybody can really participate in this great wealth transfer.
Absolutely.
And everybody, some positiveness in this too. Anyone can participate. You have the moment in history where you can actually get ahead of the very same institutions that are going to use this technology to put all the value in the world in a tokenized fashion on these protocols, these ledgers, these blockchains. So you essentially owning a piece of these assets that the 1%ers are putting around and implementing this protocols, you're acquiring the software. You get to own a chunk, a piece of the global value, all the money in the world. Think about it like that. And that's really how you should think about it, because that's really what's happening here. And I call it the final wealth transfer. And I have friends like, I don't know what's going to be the final wealth transfer. I'm like, well, I think it is.
It is for us.
If everything's going digital, what else is there, right?
Yeah.
Everything's eventually going to be on a
going to live forever
distributed ledger protocol. And that's why I mentioned in the very beginning, a single protocol that is really setting the rules, where everything is being built upon that foundation and those technologies, interoperability, right? And that's something the IMF always talks about. It's really not hard to see when you really get down to it. But all I hear from people over years and years is the nuances and details, and like always trying to provoke an argument when something is so clear to understand. You know what I mean? But
well, Versan,
maybe that's part of figuring it out. I don't know.
They use the one-liners and the distraction conversations to keep people off of giving it more attention and educating themselves. And so if they can just keep people in boxes, which is what I say, I don't like to be in a box. I like to learn as much as I can about a variety of things, because it is going to all interoperate with one another. And so, you're right. Anybody telling you that gold is going to go away and it's not going to play a significant part, all you got to do is look at the different countries and that are stacking their vaults with gold. They're doing that for a reason, for crying out loud. And so, it's very important. XRP Renegade would like to know with whom you would buy gold from to get the best value.
Okay, since I'm doing this on your show, I want to be very transparent with your listeners. So even in my sessions, I teach people never buy gold online. I know we have links on our website to purchase gold. And as a friend to all of you guys, I would recommend you never buy from an online retailer. Go on Google, just type in a gold store bullion local dealership, right? And go find a local dealer in your area, in your city, and
go buy
befriend these people, get to know them like you would with your farmer's market.
Farmers,
Farmers market, right? Yeah. So I have friends who own multiple gold stores here in Houston. I know them all, right? And I've developed these friendships and relationships with them, so I can purchase gold in cash. That's why they're trying to get rid of cash, right? If you're buying gold with all this technology and surveillance now, and you don't want people to know about this, so buy the gold in cash. And just to share with your audience, do you know how I buy my XRP? I buy it with Monero.
You know, my son talked about Monero, and he said,
"No one sees it.
You gotta cover Monero." And,
no one knows I own XRP because I buy it with Monero. There's no trace.
Oh,
right. Nice.
You know who taught me that? John McAfee. He didn't teach it to me. He didn't teach it to me personally. I watched the videos.
I did hear him talking about that.
So you use Monero to buy your select cryptos. You store them in their wallets. There's no trace of it because Monero is even what the military industrial complex use. I'm not kidding. I've researched this stuff for a very long time. I don't talk about it, but and as far as your XRP Renegade, your gold, you're better off buying it at a local dealer. You don't pay shipping costs. You don't pay taxes. There's taxes on shipping. But you also get to have that relationship and instant liquidity back and forth, and you can pay in cash. There's no trace of it. I think that's the best way to buy gold.
And XRP Renegade, you know what I'm going to say that you should do before you do a cash deal for gold? Run it through your policy first.
That's a good point. Yeah. There are always loopholes around this stuff, you know? Yeah.
Right,
so,
right.
But yeah, I mean,
sound advice, man. Do cash, make good relationships locally, because even if that store closes, let's say, it shut its doors, you still got the connection, and they still have their connections. Just because the doors are shut doesn't mean the pathway is closed.
Yeah,
good advice.
Yeah. I mean, some of them even watch my show. It's pretty cool. I come in and they're like, "Hey, Versan, I saw this." But they when you really build these relationships, they actually give me discounts, and I don't even ask for them. But when you build a relationship with them, you're gonna get that value as well. Having that friendship with somebody who knows this industry very well can tell you things maybe that you're not informed on at that moment. I walk in and I always ask them, like, guys, can you tell me the records? Like, are people coming in and selling? Are people buying? What are you seeing? Right. So I get information from them as well. So I get a general idea of what the economy is looking at in real time as well. So that's pretty cool. But never buy online. You don't want that digital trace. And if you don't have one next to you, then I recommend buying it from Miles Franklin, Precious Metals, Andy Sheckman. I hope ITM doesn't see this, but I have a really good relationship with Andy Sheckman. I rather buy from Andy, Miles Franklin, Precious Metals, than ITM, where you'll pay a higher premium for sure.
Yeah.
I hope they don't see this.
Well, but Andy,
we're a small channel.
We're a small channel. Maybe in the future. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. You'll be long gone by that time.
I want to welcome the 144 people that are watching. Thank you so much for coming to Dip a Toe Show, Versan. They came to see you, and we're glad that you came on the show. Miles Franklin and Andy Sheckman. He seems like a really good man. I watched one of his. He was in. Well, one of our friends was part of a gold conference, and Andy Sheckman was on stage with several other guys, and listening to him talk, he just seems like just a really down to earth, good person that really wants to educate people, and so. I agree. I wanted to ask, I don't know, this is kind of a little while ago, but Kelly wanted to know what your thoughts were on the inflation index on bonds. And I'm not exactly sure what that means. Do you have any thoughts on that? on the?
Um,
I don't really know about
I
that.
know a lot of investors are buying bonds right now, but I
Mhm.
really haven't been paying much attention to the bond market, even though I probably should. I do look at the Manarino index. Do you know what that is? Gregory Manarino. He has an
I know.
index.
Yep.
I encourage her to go to Gregory Manarino's YouTube channel, and in all his videos, he has a link in the description for free. When you click on that link, you'll be able to see pretty much where the bond market is, and I think that is the best damn indicator I've ever seen.
Yeah.
As far as the details she's asking for, I unfortunately don't have the information to provide for her right now. So.
I'll say this. I was listening to, I think it was Coach JV earlier, and he brought up the fact that, there for a while, because of the way things were going, they had encouraged them to do the short term, and like the 3 year or whatever. And a lot of people were getting caught with their pants down. And now they're kind of pushing the 10-year bonds again.
I mean, I owned bonds before. It's just I got out of that crap very fast because I just got so sick and tired of.
I wouldn't put my money in
I
them
got so
right
sick
now.
and tired of relying on government to pay their own debt. That's
Yeah,
really what
no,
you're trusting that the government is going to pay up their own debt. Well, I have a question for everybody, and I asked myself this question, and I spoke to Gregory about this, and I said, "Well, why the hell do people keep trusting the government to buy debt if they have debt? The reason we have debt is because we don't pay it.
right.
So, what is there from them for pay? Return on investment is all I care about right now because
Yep.
we're fighting inflation and it's really squeezing us. The best return on investment you're going to get, I think, best performing assets right now are like digital assets, right?
Mhm. I agree.
Preserving wealth, I'd rather own gold than bonds. I would personally.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
yeah, it's just you're going to get a better return on investment with the money that we have that is being completely devalued by inflation, and our purchasing power is going away with digital currencies. There are a lot of technologies out there. I'll give one for your audience. It's called Velo, VELO. It is extremely undervalued. It's a hidden gem. I have put so much time and research into this. I've shared it with very select investors to give their analysis on it as well. Their biggest investors are Stellar and Ripple. Turns out that Jed McCaleb was behind the creation of Velo as well. You could do more research on this. And it is building a debt credit market within the Stellar Foundation. So banking the unbanked, and the whole economy is based on borrowing and lending. So I can just see some really big things happening over there. It's a hidden gem. It really is. You should check it out.
What about I think it's called VXV, in the vector space is something I came across recently, and I was like, ooh, this is interesting.
So I only have a few assets. I'm happy to share with your audience. This is all I own and all I'll ever own as far as digital assets. And I do have a little bit of Bitcoin because I get paid in Bitcoin as far as like affiliate links with certain services like Ledger, right?
Yep.
If you buy a Ledger, I get paid in Bitcoin. That's awesome. I convert it sometimes into Caspa or something else, but XRP, XLM, XDC, HBAR, Algorand, IOTA, Velo, SHX. SHX is very important. Caspa, KAS, Quant, QNT. And there are, of course, other technologies out there that you can invest in for sure. A lot of potential, but these are the ones I own and hold, and I'm not getting out of them. And I continue the DCA on all of them. See, that's how Warren Buffett made billions.
Yeah.
I'm not saying go do the same thing that I'm doing,
Right.
but I have consolidated so much money into these select assets. When they move,
Yeah.
I'm going to make real money. And I got into XRP at 18 cents. So I'm already in profit in select digital assets, right?
Yeah. Good for
Quant, I got in Quant early, but then it shot up and now it's crashing. And, whatever. I don't care. It doesn't affect me. These price fluctuations don't bother me either.
Nope. Same.
And don't get greedy. If you see profits and you know that your check it might not come in, you take your profits. All right. Don't be greedy. Invest back in when it comes down. So, yeah. Anyways, I shared my perspective with your audience about what technologies I'm invested in, and I'm not being. I'm very transparent with people, and I think that's why I get along with so many. So,
yeah, and I know a lot of people value your insight for sure.
Yeah. You
What
should
kind-
catch me in the morning sometime. I have more energy than
You have more.
this.
If
At
people,
least
if
I can, yeah, I'm just really tired, you know.
no, you're doing great. We appreciate that you came up. We do know he didn't realize the show was at 8 p.m. Eastern.
I was like, 8
Uh,
p.m. I
this
said, I'm
is
usually
really low.
having a glass
I
of
know.
wine at this time.
One of these days when I no longer have to have a job, and Simon and I are in the same time zone, maybe someday, who knows. We'll be able to do it at a reasonable hour.
Get
well,
out of
if
here. We're gonna go
if-
later, if anything.
if people
Hey,
want, if
we should do
people
one
want
at midnight.
Yeah,
if
right,
people
right.
wanna
Late
reach
late
out
night
to you-
crypto, right?
if people want to reach out to you, Versan, what's the best way for them to reach you? Where do you suggest they go?
You know, with all these scams and stuff going on, there are so many people trying to impersonate me on, even on
There are.
YouTube. It's crazy.
I
YouTube,
retweet
X.
them all the time.
I know, me too. Well, on Twitter, I go by my full name, Versan Aljarrah, spelt the way you see down here. So with a blue check mark, of course. But the best way to reach me, really, without getting scammed, is going directly to my website, blackswancapitalist.io. And just go ahead and email me. My phone number's in there, in my email. Once I respond back to you, you'll have all access to me. I just prefer it that way, so people don't get scammed, because it's happened before, and I don't want people to lose money or be bamboozled into clicking a link that's really not me, and now your Instagram account is gone, because that's happened before too. So just go to my website, ask for Vindel or myself. My brother and I, we run this together. So
Cool, awesome. Well, thank you for staying up late and hanging out with us on the Dipito Let's Talk Crypto show.
I'm humbled, man. Thank you. This was really fun, and I think we should do this again. It would be great.
I would love for you to come
I'm down.
sometime. Do you have any final thoughts for our audience?
Stick to the plan.
Amen.
Stick to the plan. Be empathetic. Be mindful of others. Be compassionate. Love more. Spend more time in nature. And follow the facts. Right? Don't listen to all the noise and the narratives. I know I talked a lot of shitstorm we see in the world today, but I think it's important to sometimes address those things and give a different perspective. But yeah, just stick to the plan. I think we're all going to be fine. And of course, have God in your hearts. Yeah.
Amen to that.
Amen. Mm-hmm.
Well, we really appreciate you. Simon, do you have any final thoughts?
I do. Run it through your policy first.
What was that?
Whoa, really? How much time do you got? All right, so this is a book called Becoming Your Own Bankers by R. Nelson Nash.
Interesting.
Read it.
I appreciate that.
And get at Melissa if you want to talk some more, but read it first. If you're in the digital asset space, there'll be a lot of things in here that you already know about, but it's a very old school way of pretty much doing kind of the same things that we're kind of doing now. Check it out.
You know what? Can I add a final thought to add some flavor to that book? One thing about XRP is you are essentially your own central bank. You really become it.
To that.
You are the liquidity provider. You become the buyer and lender of last resort. That makes you king. You have the keys to the kingdom.
Yep. Yeah. You should really Becoming Your Own Banker by R. Nelson Nash. Check it out.
I appreciate that. I'll certainly check that out.
It'll hit your frequency just right.
Well, thank you guys. Okay. It's been an absolute pleasure, and please have a wonderful evening, and thank your audience, and take care, everyone. It was great.
We love you, Versan. Thank you so much.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
You guys. All right.
Have a good rest of your day. All right. That was fantastic. Love Versan so much. Thank you guys. We had 146 people come. Next week, we're going to have Mr. Man come.
Mr. Man with the plan.
Mr. Man with the plan. So we're super excited about that. I think I learned a lot. I'm going to have to listen back to this show and wrap my mind around everything. You guys had some really good questions. I'm sorry if we didn't get to all of them. and to all of your comments. I tried to do that. Yeah, if you haven't watched Versan's Black Swan Capitalist Black Swan Capitalist show. I've been watching the show for a couple of years now, I believe. It's been a while.
Nice.
I really enjoy he has a lot of good guests on. And he's really smart. His brother's really smart. I enjoy him. So you can just search Black Swan Capitalist and you'll find him. But like you said, you can go to blackswancapitalist.io is his website. I did link it in the description box below, the YouTubes and the Rumbles, and those that are watching. A few people are watching on Facebook. And for those that are watching on X, the links to those are also you can get to it easily. And if not, you can reach out personally. But man, this has been
Rosemary.
This has been
good.
fantastic.
Rosemary.
We love you, Rosemary.
We do love Rosemary. Rosemary. You can find the book on Amazon. Go to Amazon. You can find it there. The Becoming Your Own Banker. Check that out.
And hit the like button. Yes. You know what would be like? I would be so amazed if we got off and if you guys that are watching would just click onto the YouTube stream. Like a lot of people are watching on X. But if you just click onto the YouTube and just hit that like button and subscribe to our channel, we're really trying to grow the channel. And it's a challenge. We're not buying the followers or anything. This is a completely organic show. We really encourage all of you that are regulars coming to the show to participate. If anybody that's watching is interested in coming on the show with us and giving your perspective, like our friend Landon did, that was one of our more popular shows, believe it or not. But Landon's like, nobody's going to know who I am. No, a lot of people knew who you were. Even if they didn't know who you were, they enjoyed your perspective. And so I think that's what makes this show unique, is that we want to give the little guy a voice. There are so many smart people that are relatively unknown in this space, and we want to have a conversation with you. We want those of you that are dipping your toe to come on the show and ask your questions. You're nervous about this and you want to ask some direct questions to Simon, or I'll answer as many as I can, or some of the folks that come in here. We would love to have you. We would love to have you on the show. And we are growing our network every day. Every day we grow our network with wonderful people. Everyone from Patrick Riley with the Reaper Financial and Ascension to Quincy Jones that's building on the SDC network. Thanks for dipping a toe. Simon learned the whiteboard. So what I'm trying to say is, because I go off on a tangent, I'm just saying we love you guys. We want to give you a voice. We want you to participate if you so choose to. And if you're a bit shy, you could help us out by just sharing this out and liking and subscribing to our channel. And so that's all I got to say about that. And next week, 8 p.m., same time, same day, same bat channel at Dip a Toe. And we'll see you later, right? Have a good rest of your night, guys.